Hi, I'm putting this together because I've been getting requests from people for information about how to go about putting together 12-inch and 10-inch covers for their Peter King lathes. The thing with the short runs is you can't generally get them flats printed onto one sheet, and you have to use two. So that's the trick to it, and I'll be using this record as an example. Locally, and I'm assuming elsewhere as well, the largest size of card that you can put through a regular laser print, good high quality print shop, is SRA3. Luckily, that is almost exactly, it's within a few millimetres of being exactly the sort of the width that you'll need to make a 12-inch cover. But the problem that we have is that the printer can only print up into 5 millimetres from the edge of the sheet. The printing can't go right to the very edge. So with the 12-inch covers, we're locked into having a 5 millimetre white border around any of the images. There's nothing we can do about that. So the tools that you'll need to do this are, first up, you're going to need a good cutting surface, and I'd recommend actually investing in a cutting board like this, which is made from a kind of rubber compound. So you'll need a long ruler. This is a 45 centimetre ruler, an 18-inch ruler, a steel one. The first thing we're going to do is score the edges that will be folded on the cover. For that, I use a quick unpick, which is an object that is used, a tool that is used in sewing to unpick stitches, but it also works very well for scoring. You'll need a good scalpel or paper cutter, and a brush for glue, and a bottle of glue. I use PVA. In terms of laying out the jobs, we arrange them so that one sheet is aligned so that you've got the potential to have folding tabs at the top and the bottom, and the other one is designed to have a folding tab at one side, so it is arranged the other way on the sheet of card. The first thing we do is I go through and put pin pricks on the guidelines for where the scores are going to happen, for the scoring. Once you've gone through and put holes at all the score lines, you flip the card over and you see that they've got dots on the other side, so you line up the pin pricks with your metal ruler, and carefully, being careful not to rip the paper or cut the paper, you score the fold lines. This is the point where you want to be really accurate. You want to get the lines exactly the right place. Then we're going to cut them out. Okay, so I'm starting, this is the back cover, which has the fold along this edge. So you want to fold it and turn it over. Now one of the tricks I've discovered is you don't want this sort of like the tab going right to the very edge of the record, so I go in about just under a centimetre and cut along the fold line, and now what I do is I cut out like that, and then I cut in something of an arc, because I discovered in terms of putting the record in at the end, if you've got a flat line, the record is much more likely to catch. But if you have an arc, it's only ever, the record as you're sliding it into the finished cover is only ever going to hit one small point on the arc. And that's the tab that you're going to glue the two sheets together with. Now the front cover, it's the same deal. So first thing we do is fold along the score lines. And again we just cut in just a very small blade in from the edge. So this is the edge that is going to be glued to the back cover. Alright. Cut out at an angle, maybe sort of 30 degrees or something approximating that. And then cut that whole side off, leaving the piece that you want for the tab. And then finally, with the front of the record, you cut down at an angle, but not to the very corner. You just sort of cut this a part of the angle, so when it's folded it's something like that at the front. And that is the back side of the front cover, the tab that we've got there. So ultimately a front cover will look like that, and your back cover like this. So for the next stage, glue the two sheets together. So with the tab that you have on the back cover, glue I find rolling the brush across gives it a better gluing surface. Now you want to be very careful when you line the front and the back up. That can be handy. Another tool that is handy to have is just a simple clean rag. So press down. So you cut to make sure it's done. Flip it over. Check, this is as important an edge as the outer edge, simply because if any of this edge here is sticking up, then the record will catch when it's slid into the cover. So again, it's really important to try and avoid that and make sure that's really well sealed down. Turn it back over, double check that you've lined it up as accurately as you can. Again, it's a good idea to go through and do all of one stage of a job at a time for all of the covers. So what you'd do is you'd go through and glue all the flaps together so that you've got the one long cover. This ensures that it's got integrity. The glue is actually sealed by the time you start sort of messing about folding them up again. So then, yeah, the next stage, we're going to glue down the edges. keep rolling the brush to try and get a better surface. Okay. Now this part is always a little messy. You always get glue anything because this, I haven't found a way of getting around that yet. You have to like very carefully push those edges in. Down. Obviously, trying to avoid getting glue onto the finished cover, that's the trick. You don't want to make a mess of the cover. Seal it down using your rag, or I find a even clean piece of paper. You can one to sit in there, it works fine as well. Now you'll find that very seldom will the glue take the first with the first application or the first time you press it down. So what I do is I put one aside, work on the next cover, gluing the next cover together. And then once I've got two finished, I get the first one out again, and I go back, and yet surely enough it's popped up. But by now the air should have dried out the glue enough that it'll be much tackier. So you press down that edge again a second time, and 9 times out of 10 I find it's perfectly fine after the second time that it's been pressed down. And so this is what you end up with. Got the glued together cover that just needs trimming. As you see, we've got trim lines, the little blue dashes which are blurry on the screen, but that's what we'll be trimming to. Of course, this is a stage again where you want to be very, very careful so as not to cut the edge off the beautiful record cover that you've just made. There, line it up. Find it helpful to use the blade to help line it up on the edge. So this is cutting off the excess on one side, one edge of the cover. If you want your blade, always change your blades, never try and get too much use out of a single one of these blades, because a sharp blade is absolutely essential to this, otherwise it'll just make a mess ultimately of the job. Cutting the other edge off. Then finally, the front opening, so trimming down the very front edge of the cover, using the cutting guidelines that you put on your original design. So there you have it, the finished cover.